we can do by looking at these job order cost cards. And so it says at the end of February, Gross Company had completed Job 60 and 61. Job 60 is for 25,000 units. Write that up here. And Job 61 was for 32,000 units. Using the data from the other practice exercises, determine the balance on the job cost sheets and the cost per unit. Well, all you're going to do to determine the total cost or the balance is you're going to add these up. And so the total cost of Job 60 is $666,500. And you know that cost per unit is always the total cost divided by number of units. Total cost divided by number of units is going to give you the cost per unit. And so here, $666,500 divided by 25,000 units is a cost per unit of $26.66 per unit cost. And over here for Job 61, the total cost is $872,000. And you divide that by the number of units, 32,000, to come up with a cost per unit of $27.25. Practice exercise 19.6a wants you to calculate the cost of goods sold. It says the beginning finished goods inventory, so I'm going to write that down. The beginning finished goods inventory is 50,000 units for a total cost of $1,600,000. And you can figure out the cost per unit if you take the $1,600,000 divided by 50,000 units. So the cost per unit for your beginning inventory is $32 per unit. Don't ever forget how to compute cost per unit. It's just total cost divided by number of units. And then it tells you Kroll Company completed, these are the goods completed during the month, completed 500,000 units for a total cost of $24 million. So you want to figure out the cost per unit of what you just produced. So you would take the $24 million and divide that by 500,000, and that gives you $48 per unit. So if you think about the warehouse where you keep your finished goods, the beginning inventory was there first, so that's kind of like your first layer of inventory, and then the ones completed during the month is your second layer of inventory, and those are held at two different prices, so you need to keep those separate. It says determine the cost of goods sold for 525,000 units, assuming a FIFO cost flow. So you've got to think through what units were sold first. So FIFO means that your first units in are the first units sold. So 50,000 units were in your first layer of inventory, and those cost you $32 each. So if you multiply that out, it's $1,600,000. But then you know that you sold 525,000. So you're going to take away the 50,000, and you need 475,000 of the second layer, which costs you $48 each. When you multiply that out, that equals $22,800,000, and then you're going to add those two together to find the total cost of those 525,000 units. and you get $24,400,000 is your cost of goods sold at the end of the month.